Greetings, back with another one. It appears that Warhammer Space Marines 3 is in the works. And this is something I like to hear. Like I said, right hand up, I was not, big on the Warhammer series. I knew nothing about the series until I saw Space Marines 2. I mean, I've always knew the name Warhammer, and I knew some people that, played it a little bit, but I just never got into it. But when Space Marines 2 came out with that trailer, and I heard that the team inspired it by Gears in terms of the gameplay, like I said, I had to jump on it, and I played Space Marines 2. I had a hell of a time playing it. I still play it. Have a hell of a time playing. I just love the gameplay, loved just the combat and the violence and the gore and just the executions is so satisfying executing the Tyranids and stuff. The heretics I had a tough time dealing with. I can't stand fighting them. I just think they're just annoying enemy types. But that's neither here nor there. But yes, I'm here on Gamer Rant, and they're talking about Space Marine 3 being in the works, and it says it could set the stage for a Call of Duty like future. Well, let's see. Fans of Warhammer Space Marine. Oh, let me start again. Fans of Warhammer 4000 games have been served well recently, as not only did the recent Space Marine 2 sell over 6 million copies as of January 2025, 6 months have barely passed since its release, and it already has a sequel on the way. Publisher Focus Entertainment and developer Saber Interactive had just announced that the development of Warhammer 4000 Space Marine 3, and although it sounds like it's just went into production, it's a far cry from the decade separating the first two Space Marine entries. Space Marine 3 is on its way, and that's great news. The initial announcement of Space Marine 3 was limited to the brief video declaring the game's existence and a couple of paragraphs promising that it would that it would be more what made the first two games special. Another cinematic campaign and at least one of the Space Marines multiplayer modes, whether competitive or cooperative, will be packaged into a third-person shooter hack and slash frame, just like the first two Space Marine games, and that all of Space Marines 3 needs. Well, I guess I favor more of the operations mode when it comes to Space Marine 2. I did try the PvP. What was it called? Eternal War. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It has this I have my quarrels with it sometimes, because when you're playing with like certain classes and stuff like that, because you really have to build up and earn stuff and stuff like that. It's just that certain classes are just kind of they're kind of tough to take into Eternal War. You really have to get your bearings and really mesh with the team in Eternal War. The only class that I played with so far in Eternal War, I played with the Heavy. The Heavy is one of my favorite classes. I like it a lot, and I've seen some. I like the Bulwark too, and I've seen some Bulwarks, but they are kind of like tough to the use in the Eternal War PvP mode, especially when you're going against people who really know what they're doing and stuff like that. So you really got to be real sneaky when it comes to like the melee classes and stuff like that. But I really favor the operations mode. I just think that Space Marine 2, when it comes to the hack and slash stuff, I really favor the PvE more when it comes to just the way that Space Marines 2 is played. I really favor the operations mode. I hope they keep it going forward. But let's just see more. And there you have the promotion cover art there. Like I said, I hope this is not a joke. I really hope it is, and only time will tell. Annual game franchises are becoming increasingly rare due to the climate expectations of AAA video games. Well, that's because a lot of these companies have taken a plunge and went a route that no one really asked for. And that's why a lot of people have been looking towards, the indie games and stuff like that, because a lot of these AAA companies, they've just been letting a lot of fans down for, reasons unknown. We just want great games, and it just seems like a lot of, agendas are being pushed within these companies now. It just, like I said, I don't want to get too political or anything like that, but it just seems like there's been a lot of infiltration. The infiltration that you see in like films and in television, You see it in the gaming industry as well. So I think a lot of the AAA companies have suffered because of it. But that's why it's good to have indie games and stuff like that. It's a lot of companies on the up, giving us a lot of hidden gems out there. But I'm glad that the Space Marine 2 team didn't do that. Sports and wrestling series still eke out yearly entries, and Like a Dragon has kept up its streak for a while. If re-release and Judgment spins off counts, I don't know what they mean by Judgment. Gears, I think. Some gaming icons like Final Fantasy, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario also tend to launch something each year. But the king of this practice remains Call of Duty. Activision, Blizzard, and now Microsoft have managed to keep up the streak. And while it's unclear how long it will last, Call of Duty is still a constant presence on game retailer shelves. Like I said, the only Call of Duty game that I've played was Modern Warfare 2, and this was back in Xbox 360 days. And Call of Duty has always been solid when it comes to the campaign and stuff. I mean, and obviously to get your full fix playing of Call of Duty, you got to play multiplayer and stuff like that. That's kind of what keeps the game going. But I just wasn't really too big in Call of Duty. I just jumped on Modern Warfare 2 just to see what all the fuss is about, because Call of Duty seems to be a very popular game. I've never really been a diehard of it. When it came to shooters, I've always preferred Gears of War and stuff like that. So, yeah, where am I? So this is what happens when you lose your place. Oh yeah, no. Technically, Warhammer is another such franchise, though that's more because Games Workshop is willing to let many partner studios work with its license at the same time. Between Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, Blood Bowl, and Warhammer 4000, there's always something coming out. But Space Marines 2's exceptional success recently may have motivated a change to the status quo. The idea behind Space Marines 3 being announced so soon after Space Marine 2 may be to quickly turn the Space Marine series into a regular release franchise. It may not reach Call of Duty's output, but Space Marines already has good reasons to push for it. Like I said, I hope that because like I said, I mean, just like they said, I mean, they have different branches of Warhammer games. Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, and Blood Bowl. I have not played those ones. I only know the 4,000, the 40,000 one, and I hope that the 40,000 one that they keep pushing, because it's right up my alley. Just the way that the game plays, I just love it. I just hope that they continue to. I mean, they can keep making the other, sectors of Warhammer games. For the true diehard fans. I can't say that I'm a true diehard Warhammer fan. I just got into it. So I mean, so hopefully the fans who like the other type of Warhammer games, they can have those outlets for them as well. Striking while the iron is hot and filling in niches are the two best ways to sell games. And Space Marine is fortunate enough to come out at a time when it can do both. See, there you go. Thanks to the aforementioned tightening of the AAA game space, the sci-fi third-person shooters of the Space Marines' heyday are much less common, and demand for them to still evidently high. Gears of War E-Day could beat Space Marines 3 to the punch, but that's it. And both games have their own strengths. If Space Marine 3 recycles Space Marines 2 asset and gameplay, it should be able to reach its market fast. I think it will do that. I think it will. Because Gears of War is a highly beloved game, and for Space Marine 2 to kind of hone in on that type of third person, like over the shoulder shot, stuff like that, with the heavy violence and the hack and slash element, stuff like that. I mean, like I said, Space Marines 2 is not a carbon copy of Gears of War. It really isn't. It really has its own identity. It's just the way that the field of view looks. It looks very much like Gears of War in terms of that. But there's the things that you can do with Space Marines. Like Space Marine is much more melee based. It's much more heavy on the melee side. Now you have melee classes, with the hammers and the chain swords and the great sword and the power fist and stuff like that. and the fact that you can counter and stuff like that. So Space Marines 2 has its own, strengths that that you don't see in Gears. So the one is not really a karma copy of another. One was just inspired by the other. But I'm glad that the Space Marine team, kind of, have their own standout identity, which is pretty cool. It's a good thing that yeah, right here. It's a good thing that the Space Marines 2 is still releasing multiplayer assets as part of its post-launch support. Are they? Then because they could see use for the quite a long time, even though that the current Space Marine storyline is focused on the Ultramarine Titus, there are countless other chapters and warbands that could be given their own 40,000 game under the Space Marine name, which would be cool. Which would be pretty cool for people like me who are just getting into the 40,000 series, and I can be introduced to more characters and stuff like that. So I don't know if Titus was Titus in the other Space Marine game. I think he was, but like I said, for a newbie like me when it comes to this franchise, this will probably be a good way for me to go back into the lore and stuff like that, and really know more about its history. Space Marine may not have the multiple development studios necessary to match Call of Duty's yearly output, but it has the material to run for just as long. And the Space Marine 3 surprise announcement may herald exactly that. Like I said, I think they can do it. I think they can do it. Like if for me, if I mean, like I said, I was never big on Call of Duty. I only played one. It was fun for what it was. But if I had to choose between Space Marine, 40,000, Space Marine 2, and any of the Call of Duties ever, I would choose that one game over all of them, because it fancies my play style, my game style. I prefer the third person, over the shoulder, heavy on the gore and the violence and stuff like that, the executions and stuff like that, just the brutality of it all. I like how Space Marines 2 is. I love the way it plays. I love that aspect of just the third person hack and slash with the violence and stuff. I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm just repeating myself over and over again. But yeah, man, I mean, it's exciting to know. I mean, damn, I mean, what, Space Marines just came out? What, it just came out last year? Did it? Was it last year? I can't remember. But yeah, the fact that we got another announcement of, and like I said, I hope this is legit. I hope that they're not just pulling our legs with this one. But yeah, man, if we get another 40,000 Space Marine 3, and it is similar to the second game, but just obviously with more, features and stuff like that, it's no doubt in my mind. And as you can see, it says 3 and 4. So who knows? Who knows, man? But yeah, man, I just had to talk about this one, man, because for us new guys who are just getting into the Warhammer series, I love what I saw. It is phenomenal. It's one of the best games that I played in a while. But yeah, man, with only, like I said, just we have to wait for a release date. That's all we can do. But yeah, man, another one for the archives. 31 cents at it. It's your brother Bleak signing out. Until next time, you guys. Os.